So it turns out that I look cooler than I really am. Because the other day, I was walking down Hooker Avenue in Poughkeepsie, and that's the actual name of the street, by the way. It is. And I'm looking at the stock market report on my iPhone, and a truckload of young guys pull up and go, "Pokemon!" And I go, "Give me a break, I'm walking as fast as I can."
Pokemon.
Public school teachers don't often get the recognition they deserve, right? Right? I have a friend of mine here that's a public school teacher, so I was really pleased when I read about my high school history teacher in the Poughkeepsie Journal. And I made a copy of the headline, and it says, I don't know if you can read it, it says, "Cannibal Fentress up for release from Psych Center." Now this is an actual headline. Now, in addition to being a killer and a cannibal, Al Fentress was a great teacher. He would dress up in period pieces. He made history come alive. When we studied Russian history, he would come dressed as a Cossack. When he studied French history, he'd come dressed as Napoleon. And then one day he came dressed up as Hannibal Lecter. And then he made history. Now, he called me several months ago because when I'm not performing comedy, I'm an attorney. And he wanted me to represent him in this upcoming hearing. And I said, "Al, if you want me to represent you, you have to change tactics. You can't tell people that you're cured. You have to tell them you're a vegetarian." Now, he never liked me as a kid, which actually is retrospect was probably really good because I could have ended up as an appetizer. Okay. I went to visit my parents in Florida in March. The weather was beautiful. It was 80 degrees and no humidity outside. And it was 85 degrees in my parents' house. It turns out they have 3 settings on their air conditioning unit. Hot, hotter, and Auschwitz. Now, I don't know what it is about older people, but they set the thermostat to their ages, and they're still cold. So I had to go down to have the talk with my parents. I figured at their age, it was time that I knew what their exit strategy was, what they wanted after they died. So my dad says he wants to be cremated. I said, "Okay, we'll cremate you here in Florida and we'll fly your ashes back to New York to be buried." He said, "That won't work." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I'm too old to fly." So, some of you know, my dad died. And according to his last wishes, we had his remains shipped back to New York via UPS ground. The truck crashed. But thank God my father survived. He made it to the funeral on time. Now, when I got to Florida, he had a heart attack on Thursday. I got there at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning. And my father is like brain dead on a respirator. So my mom's sitting there, I go, "Mom, it's time, you gotta let him go." She says, "I can't." I said, "Why not?" She says, "We're still working on a marriage." This is all true, by the way. True story. My father loved to drink. He loved every day at 4:30 vodka rocks, and every day. So when we finally got the call that he was gone, my brother and I went over to the hospital with a bottle of Smirnoff vodka. And we're dabbing his lips with the vodka because we wanted him to have his final drink. The nurse comes in, says, "What's that?" I go, "Embalming fluid." She says, "What can I get you?" I said, "Cranberry juice and ice." And she gets it. So my brother and I are partying with my dad till 4:30 in the morning when the nurse at the ICU goes, "Last call for drinks. Last call 4 drinks. You know, this is all true. And I got to tell you, my father would love this because this is stories about him and a captive audience. This is exactly what he always wanted. You know, I never knew that it was a problem to go to the bathroom. But I'm 62 years old and never had any controversy, except maybe some constipation, burning when I was younger, and now missing the bowl. But I never realized that, you know, what makes me really afraid is that with all this transgender lawsuit that's going on, is that they're going to turn all the public bathrooms into unisex bathrooms, which means for us guys, longer lines and no toilet paper. Now, when you turn 50 years old in America, you earn the right to have your first colonoscopy. Now, that's a medical procedure where they take a 6-foot scope and they put it up your ass. Now, if you've never had one, it sounds a lot worse than it really is. Although this does sound really bad, doesn't it? Because the drugs they give you are great. I woke up in the middle of mine, and the doctor said, "How do you feel?" I said, "This is better than the 70s. They lowered my dosage. Now, the worst part of a colonoscopy is the preparation, because you have to fast, you have to drink clear liquids, and you take this medication and you spend most of the day in the bathroom. But I figured a way to make it tolerable. You get the lemon lime flavored medication, you mix it with 2 parts water, 1 part vodka. Shake it, not stirred. Served over ice and chilled. And it tastes like a Tom Collins. And you're literally shit-faced the entire day. Now, I had my 62nd birthday. We went out for this birthday dinner. By the way, thank you for applauding the fact that I'm 62 years old. I appreciate it.
Oh my God.
You live that long, you should get applause. We went out for this birthday dinner. I had this huge birthday dinner. You know, the kind, and I got so full that, you know, the kind of full where you get distended and you're hanging out over your pants. So that's when my wife decides she's going to give me her present. So she gives me a present. She bought me a ratchet belt. It's the kind of belt that interlocks instead of buckles. So I put it on. I loved it. It was great. I couldn't get it off. I kept pulling on it, hoping that it would get loose and pulling, but the problem with ratchet belts is the more you pull on it, the tighter it gets, so it got so tight that I couldn't finish my birthday cake. So we didn't know what to do. So we called a locksmith. He got my pants off, but not the belt. We went to bed that night. My wife grabs the belt, puts on a cowboy hat, and rides me like a mechanical bull at the county fair. That belt was the best gift ever. Now, the other morning at breakfast, I got this accidental sext video from this rather large-breasted woman who was trying to titillate some guy by the name of Ted. What's the proper etiquette? Do I watch it? Do I tell my wife I watched it? Do I thank her? Maybe I sext her back. I critiqued it. I sent her a review. I said, the dialogue was cliched, The production value was poor, but the acting was great. I gave her 2 thumbs up, but never told them what to do with them. Thank you. My name is Gary Levine.
Keep that going around for Gary Levine right there.